Hey guys, my name is Muska and welcome to Overwatch Central. So today we're bringing you another episode of our Master series. This time we have Master Hanzo. For this one we brought in a good friend of ours who is a fairly highly ranked ladder player. He's not really a dedicated content creator or anything like that, but he is a friend of ours that is extremely good at the game, and he's definitely among one of the best players that I know personally in Overwatch Ranked. Now do keep in mind for a video like this that Hanzo is a hero that requires very good aim to be played very well, but there are also some really essential and crucial tips that can really help you out here. So we'll be trying our best to present you with these really useful Hanzo tips. But yeah, anyway, let's get into the video. Alright, so why don't you just start by introducing yourself to the viewers then?
Hello, I am Mistrunumis. I've played roughly 100 hours as Hanzo since Season 1, but I do play a fair bit of Ana and Genji as well. I was a top 500 in Season 2 and is currently sitting in 3.8 in Season 3.
Right, so let's get into the questions. First off, I just want to ask if there's any sort of general Hanzo tips that you want to convey to the audience, anything you want to say, any common mistakes that you want to point out that you see a lot of people make in Ranked and in Quick Play even, and so on.
There's a lot of mistakes that people make, and the common one I see a lot is usually the scatter arrow, where they mess it up a lot because they try and finish off people with the scatter arrow by shooting their body instead of just using a normal arrow, and it's a waste of a very strong ability. Something also related to this is you can use the scatter arrow to also shoot off walls instead of just the floor. So for example, if you're like in a room where you go downstairs or upstairs and you're chasing somebody down in there, you can actually shoot the wall instead of actually trying to shoot the stair to get them. Also remember to always fully charge the scatter arrow, because it does more damage the longer you charge it. Even the other arrows that drops out of it does more damage. So yeah, always remember, think twice when you want to fire your scatter arrow to see where you should fire it before actually shooting.
Alright, gotcha. But yeah, as we all know as well though, Hanzo mains receive a lot of mixed sort of feedback and a lot of mixed feelings when playing Ranked, for example. So there's no doubt that the hero has proven to be very effective, especially on certain maps and so on. But how has your experience on the Ranked ladder actually been over the past couple of months or so?
In the beginning, like, most people didn't really mind that I picked Hanzo because Hanzo is actually really good. But currently we're in a state of triple tank and sometimes even quad tank. And a lot of people doubt that Hanzo can actually deal with those. The problem is they don't actually think about that Hanzo has a scatter arrow at his disposal and can one-shot a lot of tanks if he has a Mercy or a Señala Discord up.
But about sort of, general treatment by other players and sort of like, not really toxicity, but, how people behave towards someone that picks Hanzo. And also on top of that, what people are like maybe later on in the game when you're actually doing well. Like, what can you say about that sort of stuff?
Like, the first thing you might see is if you're not in the team chat, in the voice chat, you will generally see in the chat that you should swap the Hanzo because it's not going to work out. Please don't do that, people. At least give the Hanzo a chance to actually see if he's capable of actually doing stuff. Just telling him to swap off immediately is like, at least let him try. Because like, if it works and he is actually a very good Hanzo, he can clean house and just give you the win, basically. Hanzo is actually capable of doing that. A lot of the time, you won't actually be told that you're doing well. They will just be quiet. And if you're doing bad, they will rage at you, basically, if you don't swap. So yeah, don't expect like people to actually call you good, even if you do well the entire game.
Right, so is there anything you'd like to say though as well about situations in which you shouldn't pick Hanzo? I mean, we briefly touched on when you should, but is there, in your opinion at least, a situation in which he will be a bad pick?
Yes, actually. If your team already has 2 DPS players in it at max, don't be that guy and just pick him anyway. Actually try and pick something for the team. Also, if you don't have anyone at all to actually help you with your ultimate, such as Reinhardt, Zarya, and people in general with CC abilities, don't like pick him straight away. Don't force them into like a lineup that will literally make them have to change their picks into a non-comfort zone. That's a situation where you don't pick him.
Is there like is there a lineup that you would see like straight from the start where you would just go, right, I'm just not gonna pick Hanzo like ever here, like when it comes to allied heroes rather than enemy heroes?
I won't pick him if we only have a Roadhog and Diva as tanks. Then I will never pick Hanzo, because Hanzo will never be useful with only those 2 tanks.
So you briefly touched on it as well, but more about ultimate usage. You said that there's certain heroes that you really want with you there to combo well. Can you just like list those again, and then also talk more about ultimate usage with Hanzo, like how you should be using it, how you shouldn't be using it, and that sort of thing?
Yes, always put your Sona arrow down if you're gonna ult on your own before actually firing your ult, because you want to generally see what the enemy team is. You don't want to go for the DPS players and the tanks, you want to find the supports. So if you can find that sneaky Zenyatta in the back, you can kind of ult him and see where he's gonna go. Like, you can generally see where they're gonna run off to, usually back towards their team or back towards their base. And that's where you want to aim. You don't want to aim at them, you want to aim where they're gonna go. Definitely you shouldn't be using it in a big open area, such as, for example, Hanamura. If you use it on point A and just fire it into the point, that won't do anything, because people can hear it and easily hide from it because it's too open for you to actually be useful with it.
Yeah, okay, but what can you say more about ultimate usage with allied heroes, ultimate combos and that sort of thing?
Reinhardt and Zarya is very, very good to help Hanzo with his ultimate, because Zarya obviously pulls everyone together and you have a fun time with killing everyone. And Reinhardt can just stun people and put them on the floor for 2.5 seconds, where your ult just does damage to everyone, especially if it's in a choke point. And for ultimate usage, I would recommend you to either wait for one of your teammates to actually get one of theirs, such as Reinhardt or Zarya. This is a way you can fire your ult at the general direction of the supports and where they're gonna run away to. If you can fire it like that, you will basically zone off the supports to be unable to help the tanks. And then you can just finish off the tanks and keep pushing, because you don't actually have to kill anyone with your ult. It's also a very strong zoning tool.
Right, okay, so I think we're done with that section, but moving on with a bit of a scenario to present to you almost. But yeah, let's just say that someone is playing Hanzo on your team. It might be you or it might be someone else, but yeah, they're pretty good and consistent. But what can us non-Hanzo players in that case do to aid that player and help them out in a similar vein? And what can be done against like a really good enemy Hanzo to shut him down?
Well, for your own Hanzo, if you have a Hanzo on your team, try and make sure that he is supported a lot, because a Genji or a Winston can easily shut him down. If you have a Zenyatta, try and prioritize having it on Hanzo with the Harmony up. And if you have a Mercy, try and prioritize healing and damage boosting the Hanzo, because that will make him very, very effective, where he can actually one-shot tanks with his scatter arrow. Like, every single tank in the game can be one-shotted. Winston and Genji is very hard to sort of say to deal with as a Hanzo. Winston is because he basically just jumps onto you and pushes you away and has a shield that blocks scatter arrow. And Genji just has a lot of mobility and a deflect, which is very, very scary to play against.
Alright, we're gonna move on though, and it's gonna be more about tips again, but this time more about these really special tips that have really helped you out a lot. So there might be more complex ones and more situational ones that have helped you out a lot over time, or just really general things again, but just pick the tip that has helped you out the most.
The tip that has helped me out the most is, to begin with, when you start to play Hanzo, don't try and flick shot. Flick shotting is something that takes a lot of practice. And since the arrows have some kind of travel time, flick shotting will not be the most effective thing to do. What you want to do is you actually want to lead your shots to begin with, because it will make it a lot easier for you when you're going to flick later on. Because flick shotting is basically just you leading your shots, but a lot faster.
Anyway, let's try and wrap this video up and get a sort of personal plug of yours in here. So where can people find you? On Twitch, I guess, primarily?
Yes, I am starting to stream a lot more. And you can find me at twitch.tv/Mistrunumis. And I will mainly be playing Hanzo and Genji. I will be live mainly at 10 PM GMT, pretty much every day.
Okay, awesome, great. Thank you so much for joining me. And thanks for taking your time.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
And that is it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to check out Mistrunumis' Twitch channel. It's in the description below, right at the top of it. Just give him a follow and you'll see next time he goes live. Both Ryan and I are actually on there a fair bit, so yeah, keep an eye out for us. And like you said, expect mostly Hanzo and Genji, but there's also the occasional Ana and so on. But yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy his stream. Anyway, make sure to subscribe for more Overwatch content, like the video if you enjoyed it, and until next time, take care, and we'll see you then.